Greetings, my friends. Please make certain that you are still subscribed to this channel because every day I'm hearing from other people that they have been unsubscribed without their knowledge by YouTube. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you.
Commencing transmission. Engaging scramblers. Proxy chain initialized. And now, live from his hidden base at the Earth's core, the future ruler of Earth, Doomcock.
Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and joining me for today's review of Star Trek Discovery...
You mean STD?
Yes, of course. It is an STD after a fashion, a stupidly transmitted disease. It impacts the cognitive faculties instead of the genitalia, but nevertheless a contagion it is. Pardon me, Harvey Cthulhu, I misspoke.
No problem, oh helmeted hater of hackery. So, dude, why are we reviewing the first episode of this shit show again anyway? This crap has been on CBS All Access for like 3 years now.
Indeed it has, Harvey. And Star Trek Discovery was such an astonishing success for those 3 years that CBS All Access doesn't exist anymore. Star Trek Discovery succeeded them right out of business. They're called Paramount Plus now.
Man, that is one shitload of success.
Any more success and Paramount would have had to start selling shoes out of a trunk in East LA. Knockoffs, of course. CBS is no dummy. Well, since CBS has decided to air old episodes of a show so successful it drove Star Trek merchandise out of Walmarts and Targets and more, oh my, I've decided I better review this again for those of you poor folks innocently hanging out on CBS, minding your own business when you got whacked by an STD. STD Season 1, Episode 1, a show I call The Death of Star Trek. And before I get into details, you should know in general that this series is horrible. It is nothing like the Star Trek most people remember. Whereas Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek with Kirk, Spock, Picard, those shows represented a better future, a bright future, where humanity has abandoned petty prejudices, everyone is equal, and everyone is treated with respect. Whereas Star Trek Discovery is a vile, hateful, grim show where everyone hates everyone else, crew members commit mutiny and assault on their commanding officers, and formerly pacifist Vulcans advise the mutineer to immediately attack the Klingons on sight, a maneuver the morons writing this crap calls the Vulcan Hello.
The Vulcan Hello? What kind of bullshit is this? Vulcans were always depicted on Star Trek as nonviolent pacifists committed to logic.
Sadly, Harvey, you have watched more Star Trek from the confines of your alien dimension than the entire Star Trek Discovery writing staff combined. The show is full of nonsense like this. The so-called Klingons, Klingorks, Ice says, are shown to have invented a cloaking device. A nice trick, since judging from the fires on their bridge, they have yet to invent light bulbs. But they have invented somehow a cloaking device years before the Romulans have. So the USS Shih Tzu stumbles across them. A crew member attacks the captain, then mutinies, then attacks the Klingons, giving them a Vulcan hello that Vulcans absolutely would never make. But this is what happens when Gilmore Girl writers work on a science fiction show they seemingly know very little about. To sum up, for those of you who don't want to hear spoilers, Star Trek Discovery is awful, not only as Star Trek, but as entertainment, with unlikable characters, ugly special effects, and Klingons that aren't Klingons using technology that isn't Klingon. In short, STD is like a Tijuana donkey show starring a donkey that got kicked in the head by another donkey in another Tijuana donkey show who briefly had to sell Mary Kay cosmetics door to door before Viagra was invented, which got him back into the game all right, but only with grandmothers who have also been kicked in the head by donkeys.
A ringing endorsement, if ever I heard one. But what's a donkey show?
Clearly a sign this review is strictly for adults. Now I'd like to get into more details as to why I hated this pilot episode, but first I'd like to address the issue of spoilers.
Then address away, O dread lord.
Please note, I would say that spoilers follow, but there's really nothing to spoil. Can one spoil garbage? Doomcock thinks not. And yet, Doomcock warns you now that plot points often referred to as spoilers will follow. Turn away now if you don't want this already spoiled piece of television refuse spoiled further. Now, in the very first scene, we are introduced to... Doomcock can barely utter it. Introduced to the Klingons. Right off the bat, the creators of this vile so-called entertainment piss right in Star Trek's face by turning the Federation's arch-nemesis race into a kind of generic animalistic caricature. Oh, Doomcock is scared and impressed by how evil and dramatic these so-called Klingons are. What a laugh. Here's the problem with these Klingons. Aside from the fact that they radically depart from all the Klingons we've ever seen, the simple fact of this matter is these morons are primitive. Really, really primitive. They howl, they light torches, they rant, they bare their crooked teeth, and they have become so extreme and absurd that Doomcock absolutely cannot see them as a technological race. The Klingons were always a warrior race, yes, but they had view screens, transporters, non-bladed energy weapons. They obviously had the wherewithal to create a technological society, but these weird, growly orcs clearly have no business being in space. There's no way a race this backward ass would ever develop a technological civilization. Can you imagine any of these fools paying attention in one math class, much less getting a degree? Discussing the kinds of equations and theorems necessary to make space travel a reality? The original Klingons were more like Russians, a bit rough and tumble, but clearly capable of subtlety, cunning, and guile. They were cruel but intelligent. Some even had a sense of humor. Most had some sense of honor, however skewed, and this depth made them plausible as a technological species. But these so-called Klingons, these morons, they set fires on their bridge like cavemen. I guess because they don't have light bulbs or something, and do nothing but howl and rant, rave. One never gets the impression that these so-called Klingons have any depth whatsoever. They are not realistic aliens. One cannot imagine these Klingons having a conversation about a video game or a movie or just sitting down to breakfast and asking, "Pass the bloodworms." One cannot imagine these primitive savages sitting down and discussing a technical problem with the warp drive or reasoning their way out of any one of 1,000 space anomalies that spaceships in the Trek universe always seem to get sucked into. The Klingons are decidedly one note, and that one note is grating and worse, boring.
The Klingorks are indeed boring, as you say. But boredom is not the most painful thing about this episode, is it?
Oh no, Harvey. No, the worst parts of STD are the enormous violations of canon and of common sense. This is one dumb show, and never more idiotic than in the sheer fucking idiocy of the opening scene. Get a load of this, people, but prepare to have your IQs involuntarily lowered. So, here we have the chick from Walking Dead strolling around a desert planet with, I think, the chick from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, having a very boring expository conversation as a storm approaches. The Walking Dead chick, Doomcock remembers her name was Michael, but Doomcock must not have heard that right since that's a dude's name, and so that would be stupid. Michael, for some stupid reason, is talking a lot like Spock would if he were there, saying the storm will arrive in 42.74 minutes or some such nonsense, exactly like Spock would. Oh, this makes Doomcock's blood boil in absolute unspeakable rage. The idea that this Michael chick is Spock's stepsister? Is there nothing that is sacred? CBS starts off by destroying the Klingon Empire, then pisses in our faces and laughs at Star Trek fans by having so little regard for continuity, for tradition, for Roddenberry and Kuhn and Justman and D.C. Fontana as to invent out of thin air a human-adopted stepsister for Spock? What could be worse than that? Making her a half-assed clone of Spock, a Spock wannabe! They have her calculating precise times and odds to decimal points like Spock. They have a struggle to overcome her human impulses with logic like Spock. They even have her neck pinch the captain at one point, just like Spock. As if that could ever happen. What the morons writing this garbage fail to realize is that Vulcans can do the neck pinch not simply because they know the pressure points, but because they have the enormous strength to pull this off. Humans can't do it. They're not strong enough, you contemptible fools, you writers of tripe. Know you nothing? I'm crushing your heads! I'm crushing your heads! These subhuman hacks care nothing for Star Trek. Indeed, they seem hell-bent on ruining everything that was good about the franchise. Doomcock is getting a headache. The only thing keeping Doomcock's head from blowing up is this metal helm I wear. Doomcock's blood pressure is generally 300 over 150, and Star Trek Discovery isn't helping.
Hey man, if you feel like your blood pressure is about to make your head explode clean off of your body like in Scanners, would you be sure to push the button? Let me out of my containment field to destroy your universe? Please, it can't possibly matter to you.
You just watched Vertigo, and you're casting me as Kim Novak?
Come on, be a sport.
I'll consider it, Harvey. Yes, this show makes me that mad. They essentially use Michael Burnham, a.k.a. Mikey Spock, as more Spock than Spock, insulting Leonard Nimoy, Gene Roddenberry, D.C. Fontana, and fans all over the world. Mikey Spock is more Spockian than Spock, and in a way, she's better than Kirk as well. Because during the one true original show, Kirk said to Spock regarding the neck pinch,
"I wish you could teach me that sometime."
To which Spock replied, "I have tried, Captain." Well, little Mary Spockshine can do it where Kirk couldn't, which just goes to show you the attitude that Star Trek Discovery has regarding the original series, like some kind of television Genesis device. Star Trek is being destroyed in favor of Discovery's new Matrix, where Michael is Kirk and Spock all rolled into one, bettering both of them in the same way that Star Wars' Mary Sue Ray is the bestest Jedi there ever was, and a better pilot than Han Solo, and a better Tomb Raider than Lara Croft, and has to save all the boys because they're stupid. Mary Sue Ray and little Mary Spockshine are both caricatures rather than real characters, designed to make fanboys and fangirls go all weak in the knees at how perfectly fabulous they are. Look at the logic of it. CBS, like Disney, reasons that if they make their new franchise heroes better than the fallible franchise heroes of old, why, that will give the impression that the new franchise is equally better and more kick-ass than the old one. Do you see the idiotic corporate mentality at work here? The idea that fans will be fooled into thinking the reboot is better than ever because Rey's the bestest Jedi, Michael is Kirk, and Spock rolled into one. The Starkiller is so much better than the Death Star, on and on. As if the nuances of writing, of character, of philosophy and inspiration could be distilled down to a simple metric of whose Klingons are meanest and whose lightsaber is bigger. Do these corporations think fans are that stupid? Sadly, a lot of reviewers are clearly that stupid, judging from the ridiculous fawning bought and paid for reviews of this Star Trek. No one has pointed out the stupidity of the opening scene with Mikey Spock and Captain Crouching Tiger walking around on the planet. Here's the setup. The storm is brewing. Mikey Spock was off on her calculations, surprise, surprise, so now it's an issue. How will the ship find them to retrieve them before the storm? They walk on, yakking about nothing much in a very stilted and mock-amiable way meant to suggest a depth of friendship between them that never really gels in the slightest. One gets the feeling they're talking at each other rather than having a conversation, but never mind. The captain says, "Don't worry, they'll find us, keep walking." So they walk and talk, and at the end of the scene, they come up on their own footprints. See, the captain has... Oh God, this is really bad. The captain has been steering their path to carve a big Federation badge in the sand. See? And this tells the ship where to find them. The ship dives down beneath the thick, opaque clouds to pick them up, and the captain is revealed to be wise, and it's all so damn cute I threw up in my mask. Does Doomcock really have to point out how completely idiotic this pathetic little piece of fan service is? Here's the problem. The storm is upsetting the ship's sensors, preventing them from being detected. The cloud cover is also preventing the ship from visually acquiring them. So exactly how does walking a Federation badge path help this situation? Theoretically, it might be a better visual from space, except in planetary terms it's really small, like maybe 5 or 6 city blocks, so that's not a hell of a lot of help from orbit. Plus the cloud cover is so very thick that when the ship descends to rescue them, it seems to appear out of the dense cloud as if by magic. That super dense cloud cover that would keep them from ever seeing the stupid Federation badge in the sand. The idea is preposterous. Again, do something that CBS and the morons that wrote this don't want you to do. Think about it. Sensors down, surface totally obscured by thick storm clouds, and the big plan is to use footsteps to make a Federation badge that the sensors would not scan and the ship would not see due to the thick clouds. But let's just say, to humor the mouth breathers, that this stupid idea would work. Let's just pretend. But of course, it wouldn't work until the end of the overlong scene when they finish the badge, right? I mean, hey, it makes sense that the ship would hang back until it was completely done, yes? Because after all, you see, Starfleet badges that are 2/3 complete on planets, you see those all the time. They get fooled that way all the time. So I imagine them up there looking at this 3/4 complete badge and saying, "Should we go down there and see if it's the captain and Mikey Spock?" And they go, "Nah, it might be nothing. Maybe a sensor ghost. 3/4 of a badge is nothing special. It happens all the time randomly. Let's see if it becomes a full badge just so we don't look dumb." Well, Doomcock has news for them. They look dumb. Dumber than Dummy McDumberg drinking dummy cola under the dum-dum tree on the shores of Lake Dum. So what is Starfleet now, like a Batman villain or something? Like Riddler and his Riddler mobile driving around in the sand, leaving a question mark trail because that's his logo? Riddle me this, Mikey Spock. Why am I fetishistically walking a complicated bendy path that makes me do 170-degree hard pivots to make the pointy ends of the badge without you knowing I'm cunningly manipulating you to make this complicated shape with me? Riddly-dee! It's because fans will go huzzah when they see the stupid badge in the sand and the ship majestically dive from the clouds to the not terribly exciting rescue. No matter that it's a stupid, painfully pathetic, illogical bit of fan service that undermines the integrity of the show and makes it seem like bad fan fiction right out of the sewage gate, what else do you expect from Akiva Goldsman, the brilliant mind that brought you the heel-clicking ice bat skates from Batman and Robin, Doomcock could go on, and on and on. Star Trek Discovery is really like a fractal of shit. The further you drill down into it, the worse it gets. The alien guy on the bridge whose superpower is he can sense death approaching? Well, you know what, Science Officer Obvious, when Doomcock sees Klingons decloak off his bow, Doomcock senses death too. What a lousy superpower. It's like Troy feeling pain when anyone could hear the alien sobbing over the bridge speaker. Thanks for nothing, Christ. What about Captain Obvious? When Mikey Spock tells her about the Klingons and she says, in all seriousness, if there are Klingons here, it could explain what attacked our probe. You think? Doomcock guffawed at that part. Captain Crouching Tiger was wooden as Pinocchio watching porn, Mikey Spock was over-emoting hilariously with the kind of desperation reserved for actors cast as series leads when they're in way over their heads. Sarek was as wooden as Pinocchio watching porn on an old oaken bench, listening to Julie Andrews sing "Wouldn't It Be Loverly" from My Fair Lady. The effects were ugly, the ship was dark and joyless. The cretinous writers forgot that it was the Romulans who invented cloaking technology, not the Klingons who later acquired it from the Romulans. Kirk and crew encountered the first cloaking device in Balance of Terror, but somehow these primitive Klingon cavemen managed to create a genius cloaking device powered by, I guess, open fires on their bridge. Coal-powered, one presumes. Oh, how I despise this show. Mikey Spock was breathing hard in her spacesuit like it was first time on a spacewalk. What was up with that? Spacewalking should be as ordinary for a Starfleet officer as filling up the car with gas is for you minions out there. But boy, Mikey Spock was pumping that gas with dramatic flair. Mikey Spock was overly dramatic and annoyingly pushy. Did you notice how insistent she was throughout the show in getting her way? She'd have been court-martialed long before now. What a complete lack of discipline. Okay, so you lost your parents and you have abandonment issues that make you insubordinate and emotionally unstable? Maybe Starfleet isn't the career for you. Oh, how Doomcock loathed the flashback of little Mikey Spock in her education pod on Vulcan, just like Spock. Mikey neck-pinching, talking about logic, computing, decimals, all just like Spock.
The only difference, I guess, is that Spock is not the bestest ever.
Oh no, Spock is definitely not the bestest ever, as you'll see in Season 2, assuming you keep watching this trash that long. I can't imagine that most people will, but if you do, I'll be right here, reviewing these terrible, terrible episodes as a service to humanity. But trust me, if you keep watching this show,
you'll be sorry.
You've been watching Looney Tunes, dude.
I like to assimilate cultures before I destroy them.
Spoken like a true gentleman. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.